The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, Adam, last week you teased that you had a little jingle that the people were singing at Chelsea. You were kind enough to send it to me. Let's see if we can play it for people. We hate Tottenham FC. Is that what it is?
We hate Tottenham Chelsea is what they're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. And that's been pretty recent. That's nothing that has that's just evolved over the landscape here fairly quickly. So yeah.
My favorite thing about that song is that it was during a game that was not even against Tottenham.
Oh, of course. Of course. And now you may understand why I'm not a big fan of Tottenham Hotspur.
I do. It's time for Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So, what a weekend of football/soccer this past weekend. It was really amazing. We picked the Manchester Derby as the game to watch, and it was kind of a slow-moving game, but there were some big things that happened. City somehow managed to lose the game in the last few minutes after pretty much dominating the match. 2 goals by United, and the streak continues. Man City's not even in the top 4 right now as we record this.
Yeah, exactly. Winless in like 11 games or something crazy. It's just absolutely amazing what's going on at Manchester City. And poor old Pep's feeling the pressure a little bit.
Well, I mean, he totally is. He's looking like a lost puppy on the sidelines. In an interview, they ask him, "How are you?" I saw the pregame interview. So if you win, this could really propel you guys. And he goes, "Yeah, if we win." Like, wow.
Yeah. He's struggling. I mean, I think he's starting to feel it. This is obviously a little bit of an alien territory for this situation. He's never been in this type of a situation before where he's dealing with so many losses, and some of the quotes he's coming up with, it's comical to a certain point because he's so down on himself. He's like, I'm not good enough. Right. I've got to do better. I'm like, dude, come on, seriously, You are good enough. You're having a rough patch. We've all been there. Don't worry about it.
You're good enough. It's going to be okay. And you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, people like you.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. I see that whole Michael Jordan clip on Saturday Night Live. Exactly. I'm like, really? Everybody's just laughing at you. Come on.
I know. It's actually kind of sad to see. I mean, you think about it. He's never experienced anything like this. He's always been a success, even as a player.
Yes, exactly. And I think also probably what makes it hurt so much, especially this one. I mean, it was 2 goals, literally 88th minute, and then the 90 plus minutes, right? So it's like right at the death.
Yeah.
And they never looked like they were going to lose, and that's what happens. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Manchester United because their new coach made a pretty strong move by keeping Marcus Rashford and Garnacho out of the lineup completely. I mean, they weren't even on the bench. Obviously, sending a message to the team. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it's a strong message. I mean, I'll give him a lot of credit in the fact that he owned up to it right away and just basically said they weren't good enough in training, that they weren't part of the squad. Now, next week's a new week, so they trained better on that day of the game, I supposedly is what he said. So it's a new week next week, so hopefully they play better and train better and they'll be part of the squad. So, but yeah, he took it upon himself to really explain exactly his reasoning. I think everybody's okay with it, especially because it turned out to be a victory.
Yeah.
There probably going to be some spots because, unfortunately, and I feel bad for Mason Mount, he got injured. He kind of went off after, I think, pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
So there's probably going to be some spots opening up just because of an injury standpoint. But he's definitely Amorim is definitely being very brave in making those types of decisions.
He actually looked gleeful discussing it. You know, like some coaches, they come in, you know, we keep everything behind closed doors. You know, that's a private matter within the club. We're not going to get into it. But he went in there like, I hope you ask me why they're not here. Mm-hmm. So I love it. I love it.
Definitely a vast contrast from the previous manager, that's for sure. You know, in terms of everything was just, this is how we do it. This is what we're doing. And he's just got a little bit more of a personality. So, and I think that certainly Man United fans are a lot more appreciative of that.
Yeah. One last thing before we move on to another game here is Kyle Walker. Did you see that?
Yeah. Not his best moment.
Embarrassing. He did a flop on a supposed headbutt that was not even close to being a headbutt. It was like he was like Neymar out there for a moment.
Yeah, it was certainly not his best moment. He kind of threw himself to the floor.
Yeah,
and he kind of pretended that he's been headbutted. Those are the things we don't want to see. That should not be part of the game. And
especially him, right? He's like a tough guy. You know, the English national team player. You don't want him acting like that. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to slide any blame against somebody else or anything else, but I can from what I'm reading with what Kyle Walker, he's got a lot going on outside of soccer. He's dealing with a divorce. He's dealing with some other issues and different things. So maybe some of those things have come into his own mental, well-being.
Okay.
So he's got a lot going on. So
now you're making me feel bad.
Well, but you could say that about a lot of people, right? So
true.
I mean that's the thing. But ultimately, you still got to show up for work and you do your job and do it. No matter, I think we're just probably more akin to what's happening outside of people's lives now. I mean, just because, especially for him, it's constantly in the news,
right?
Because he's dealing with some child support stuff and all kinds of different things. But so he's got a lot going on, but that still does not take away anything from a really, really poor piece of judgment on his part, for sure.
I agree. All right, let's talk about the title race, because don't look now, there is one. Chelsea only 2 points out of first place. Liverpool does have a game in hand, but their defenders are dropping like flies. Konate is out for a few more weeks. Robertson is suspended now after that straight red he got. Tsimikas is hurt, and Anthony Robinson from Fulham was unbelievable in that game. He covered Mo Salah like a glove. Yeah. He got both assists for Fulham, and he was the best player on the whole pitch.
Yeah, I think he should be the U.S. men's captain. He's that good.
He is.
He is currently the best player in the Premier League, U.S. men's player. There's no question about that. He is doing tremendously well. He's putting himself up against the best players in the world, arguably, and coming out and showing how good he is. Yeah, he was tremendous. I mean, I'm so excited for U.S. soccer that he's able to do that. So that's great.
Me too. Rumors started swirling right after the game that Liverpool might sign him in the transfer window. But of course, this is on my Liverpool Twitter feed, which is, of course. Yeah,
it's just a feed of different rumors. Yeah, exactly.
But Messi's going to be there too,
Oh, yeah. Sign them all up. But,
I would like to officially endorse the idea if it's not already in people's heads. Let's get him over to Liverpool. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk about Chelsea because they are scoring goals. They're in very good form. Big win over Brentford. What's going on with your boys in blue?
Well, I mean, looking at the form, they've got 5 games in a row here. They're doing very, very well. 5 good wins on the trot. And, they're looking like they were a team that's pushing themselves up. So I've heard a lot of people on social media, pundits and everything, especially former Chelsea players, fans, we're not in the title race. That's what they're saying. We're not in the title race. We're not a contender. So we're not ready yet. This is part of the process. It's part of how we're going to get better. We're a young team. We're just exceeding expectations. Maybe that's just taking the pressure off those players and Chelsea. And I still think there's probably a few positions that we could definitely enhance when I look at it as a Chelsea fan. But, hey, the proof's in the pudding. They're up there. They're knocking around that first spot.
This weekend, if Liverpool loses and they're playing against Tottenham, although are you going to root for – you can't root for Tottenham, clearly, based on the jingle.
I don't root for anybody in that game. I'm like, why is this even happening? Yeah, right.
But if they lose and Chelsea wins, they're in first place.
Like I said, I'm going with all the other pundits. We're not in the title race yet.
You don't want to put that famous Adam jinx on them?
No. I'll just talk about it at the end.
Okay.
When everything all works out, you'll see. The best team will be at the top.
Oh, that's a bold prediction.
Yeah, that's me. You know me. I don't like to sit on the fence. I like to be bold and talk about the best team will be there, and it's going to be there. And it's interesting. And I didn't realize. Obviously, that one game in hand, I keep forgetting about it because obviously the Everton Liverpool game wasn't played last week.
Right.
So if they do make that up, there is still that chance that they're going to be 3 more points behind. But yeah, definitely a couple of draws for Liverpool. Chelsea's getting closer. Draw for Arsenal. And we're moving up.
Yeah, and Man City's not even in the top 4 anymore.
Oh, they'll be lucky to qualify for Europe. Yeah.
I have a feeling they're going to turn it around, but I've been saying that now for a while, so we'll see. Yeah. So a couple of managers got some wonderful Christmas presents this week. 2 of them were fired. Wolves manager Gary O'Neill sacked. Southampton manager Russell Martin sacked. That makes 4 already fired this season with Ten Hag and Steve Cooper. And, I didn't even realize this. Of course, probably most of these Premier League fans know this, but no English manager has ever won the Premier League. Yeah,
that's true.
And two of the only 4, right? There were only 4 that were in the entire league this year. 2 of them just got fired this week.
Yeah, I know. And I'm going down the list here. There's only Newcastle left. Who else we've got? And then we may be down to 1. I think I'll have to recheck my statistics. But Newcastle obviously got an English manager, and I'm just trying to look at the other teams. And Everton, of course, Sean
Everton,
Dyche. So those are the 2. And unfortunately, they're in 12th and 16th spot. So we're not exactly moving on up, although, to be fair, Newcastle had a good win. But I think the results were there. Southampton, I think the tough thing for where Southampton was, they were looking to try to play the same way that they played before. So Russell Martin came out, was tremendous in the Championship. But unfortunately, that did not translate to the Premier League. And you saw that a little bit with Burnley last year as well. They're trying to play out of the back, and the players they're going up against are just too good, and they're figuring things out. And I'll give Russell Martin a lot of credit in terms of he wanted to stick with it, but ultimately it gets to the point where you're going to stick with this, and you're going to end up losing your job, and that's exactly what happened. So he didn't necessarily conform. And then Gary O'Neill was a tough one. I think a little bit of with the Wolverhampton job, I think there was a little bit of maybe dissension in the camp, I think, so to speak, and you can kind of see that in the last couple of games. There's a couple of little bust-ups at the end of the game with the Wolves match after they lost, kind of in dramatic fashion. I mean, again, when you lose your job and you lose the game right at the end, I mean, they literally lost in injury time again, similar to the Man City game. That was a tough one. So I feel bad for the managers. I honestly do think Gary O'Neill will get another chance somewhere. I know he's very well respected in terms of how he does. Russell Martin, he may have to go back down into the Championship to work his way back up again. We'll see what happens. But yeah, tough. Always a tough day when managers lose their jobs.
Yeah, that is true. And all right, so I promise a weird stat of the week every week. This time I went to look at managers who've been sacked. This is the weird stat of the week. The fastest top flight managers ever fired. Okay. Southampton's manager, Paul Sturrock, was fired. Was fired 9 days into the season in 2004. That's pretty good.
That's not good.
Crystal Palace's Dave Bassett in 1984 was fired after 4 days.
Wow.
Now, I don't think this is a top flight, but the record the record is 10 minutes.
Okay.
Leroy Rossenoir from Torquay United.
Well, you butchered. I'll be honest with you. You butchered every part of that information you just said. That was probably. I'm glad we got that on tape because that was the worst pronunciation of anything I've ever heard.
I'm German. I'm German. We don't come with the pronunciation in a part of our DNA.
Hey, just as a little piece of advice. If you're unsure, just ask me. I'll let you know. So it's actually Leroy Rossinier.
Okay, that's what I meant.
And Torquay United.
That's pretty much what I said.
And you should know Torquay because John Cleese's Fawlty Towers is based. That's where they're based. In Torquay. Yes.
Did not know that.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Not only are we a soccer show, we're also loads of information. So there you go. Anyway,
and that show had most famous episode made fun of Germans.
Exactly right.
So it's perfect. Yeah. Anyway, he lasted 10 minutes in 2007. He was hired. His team was sold while he was filling out the paperwork, and the new owner didn't want him, and he was fired 10 minutes later. That's the all-time record. And it was pronounced incorrectly. All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, official state association, and charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation, official state association, and charter member of U.S. Youth Soccer, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, Olympic development program, and referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org. Also, in terms of Illinois, I just wanted to give a shout out. So we were doing a D-license this week. Try and encourage all of these fantastic people to listen to our fantastic broadcast here. So wanted to give them a shout out. They said they would listen in this week, so we'll see. And I said, well, remember, I am assessing you, so it would be smart on your part to come in and listen. Yeah. So all the D-license coaches, they did, to be fair, did a tremendous job, worked extremely hard, did their training sessions, all got a chance to do it. So they're working well. They're ready for a little bit of time off over the Christmas break, that's for sure.
All right, and here's your tip, you D-license people. Go in there and mention the mispronunciations. and you'll pass for sure. All right, it's time for another feature.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
And I think I know how to pronounce his name. He is 22 years old. Before coming to the Premier League, though, before coming to his current team, he played professionally in Italy. So even though he's 22, he's been around. And he's not from Italy. or England. He's from Africa. Now, like half of the African players in the Premier League, he was born with the last name Traore. But he's had it legally changed. That is not his name. He does not go by that.
Really?
Yeah. He never has in the Premier League.
Okay. So I would never know him as a Traore.
Right. Not in the Premier League.
Okay.
He's on one of the teams in the Premier League that wears red.
Okay, there's only 1,000 teams that play wear red, but that's good.
He is a winger / midfielder.
Okay.
Had a big game last weekend.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm guessing he's probably potentially with Manchester United. Would that be?
That would be correct.
Fair to say. And would he be playing with the Ivory Coast?
Yes, he would be.
And I think he's definitely cemented himself as a potential starter for a little while here with his performance this past weekend. And that second goal, by the way, was absolutely amazing. The way he chipped it over the goalkeeper and
the first touch too on the ball was like a 40-yard pass. I still am just amazed at the control that these players have.
Well, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, definitely worthy. He's definitely a star from this past week. So I'm going to give you credit for this one. Amad Diallo is the winner of the Guess the Player.
Yeah, he is, and he had a great game. He's fun to watch.
Yeah,
and it pains me to say that about a Manchester United player, but I don't hate him.
No, exactly. And it's interesting. He started in Italy. Didn't know too much about him before, actually, when he came in. But he was also played with our good friend Vince's team, Sunderland.
He did.
So he was there for a little while. Played there last year. Had a little bit of a breakthrough season for them. Scored a few goals there for them. 13 goals, I think he scored in that. And now is obviously playing very well for Manchester United. And hopefully he can keep his place, especially with these other players coming back now, or potentially coming back. Yeah.
All right, it's time for another important feature.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
Okay, what games can we watch? I understand there might be a game or two to choose from.
Oh my goodness! So I mean, now we're gearing towards the busiest time. So this is going to be basically after this weekend. So we have our last weekend of ODP. We're doing some ODP training, and we're going to be kind of split out. We're getting ready for an event that our ODP players are going to be going to in Arizona. So we're heading to Arizona January the 2nd. Literally, as soon as the New Year's done, we're starting again. So we're going to get these teams prepped.
That's a rough trip for you.
I know, it's terrible. We're going to go out to the mountains. I tell you what, though, last year when we went, it was bloody freezing. I was like, I'm glad I brought my big jacket. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah. But we'll be out there, so we're prepping these players, so I'm going to be kind of in and out. But the nice thing is I'll be able to watch most of the games in the morning on Saturday. Sunday, we've got some training, but we'll certainly catch them. But then after that, it's just like I'm full into Premier League status. And obviously the Christmas break, we've got so many games. But for Saturday, I think you're going to have to watch a game Saturday and a game on Sunday.
Okay.
The Saturday game, you're going to have to set your alarm. It's going to be 6:30. Aston Villa, Manchester City. It's going to be a good one. From Villa Park, can Man City break their rough spell
That's
against
another
the good
tough
Aston
game.
Villa side? Yeah, it's another tough one. I mean, they could realistically lose again. There's no question. So we'll see how that happens. And you've got a bunch of games at 9 o'clock. Newcastle is a good one. Obviously off to a good game last week. But I think the best game, you've already alluded to it at the beginning, was I think we're going to all have to tune into Tottenham Hotspur. We hate Tottenham against Liverpool. 10:30 works for everybody's time. That should be a good one from the Tottenham Stadium. So we're excited to watch that one. And just also, I don't know if I told you this, but we're working on an ODP trip. Some of our players are going to be going over to England, and there's a good chance I'm going to be able to get to see that stadium. So I'm going to be going to Spurs' stadium in the spring.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I'm excited to see the stadium. I'm not excited to be in front of all these Spurs people, but I'm excited to see the stadium. It is. There you go.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I tell you, and I should be conscious. I feel bad for all the Tottenham fans listening to this because they do get a rough go. They really do. Yeah. And they played very well this past weekend. I mean, they came back.
They got a coach fired.
Got a coach fired, exactly. So, but it was good. It was good. So, yeah, should be a good one. Spurs against Liverpool. Should be a lot of goals the way both teams play. I'm expecting a 4-4 draw.
Hey, I hope it's not a 4-4 draw. But all right, Free Kicks is brought to you by Green White Soccer Club. I was there last night. Had a meeting of all the referees from the NCAA in the local chapter. It was kind of fun. I played bartender. But yes, Green White has been around forever, 68 years. Go to greenwhitesoccer.org. Look for a team that is right for you. Anything from age 5 to over 50. All right, we have people to thank. We need to thank our executive producer, Tony Lasana with Opie Shows. Also thanks to Ed Silla with the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place, RadioMisfits.com. And are we back again next week for another show? Or are we going to take our Christmas break?
We could try and work it out. We'll see. Possibly.
All right.
A week from today is right at Christmas, isn't it? So yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll come up with something. We'll have to do a preview of all the games for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep people hanging and try to figure out if we're going to be back or not for another episode of Free Kicks.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?